lights on. Robbie, it's a lot.
Hey guys, what is up? Niyat here with Film Comics Explained, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Clover monster that was featured in the 2008 found footage monster film, Cloverfield, that was produced by J.J. Abrams and directed by Matt Reeves. The film is loved and hated by many people, understandably so. On one side, we have probably one of the most realistic monster attack films ever created. On the other, we have some of the shakiest camera work ever recorded, which made the viewing experience unpleasant and uncomfortable to sit through. I'm going to issue a spoiler alert for 10 Cloverfield Lane, as I'll be briefly talking about certain plot points to delve into the lore with greater detail, so if you haven't seen it, please watch that before continuing this video. Now, Cloverfield follows a few friends living in New York City that are attempting to survive the night, after witnessing scenes of destruction by the hands of a large mysterious creature. The attack occurs during a farewell party for Rob that is being recorded by a handheld camera, which is the justification for why the film looks the way that it does. The monster had essentially come out of the Atlantic Ocean after being awakened by submarines sent down to investigate the depths by the fictional Tagruato Company. The creature is in essence an underwater life form that stood at a height of approximately 300 feet and weighed in at almost 6,000 metric tons. The terrifying behemoth had extremely thick skin and was said to be heat and pressure resistant, which is why it was able to survive in high pressure environments. This also helped the creature when it was fired upon by human weapons that did not seem to hurt the Clover as much as they irritated it. The Clover also noticeably released hundreds of smaller creatures that appeared to look almost like defensive parasites when the monster was under duress. They were extremely hostile and seemed to act like a defense mechanism, quickly hunting down nearby potential threats. The awesome manga called Kishin, which was also published in 2008, dealt with some of the incidents that were seen in the film's viral marketing campaign. In the story, it is revealed that the Tagruato Company have essentially been doing a lot of extreme research and experimentation in secret. The manga explains that there is also a cult that had essentially desired to use a tormented boy named Kishin in a dark ritual that would tie him to a monster being studied by Tagruato, and therefore allow them to control it. The cult is able to break into a Tagruato lab and fuse the DNA of Kishin with a monster that was called the Splinter of Amion, also known to the cult as God's Vestige, which requires a host to survive. The monster eventually embarks on a rampage, destroying much of the nearby city. Kishin is also seen to have some measure of control over the massive creature and its parasites, getting them to attack certain people at will, while also preventing them from attacking people he cared about. Driven by his rage and frustrations due to being bullied, Kishin succumbs to the madness and decides to destroy the cruel world that had tormented him for so long. He eventually comes across Aiko, a girl who tells him that she loves him, which makes Kishin experience a change of heart. He ultimately confronts the monster, which consumes him in its rage. This causes it to feel every emotion that Kishin had felt throughout his life, ending with the love that he felt for Aiko. The creature then returns to the ocean and begins to sink back down to the depths. As it plummets further to what is assumed to be its death, we spot another giant egg before realizing this was one of many in a nest. The monster and Clover were also revealed to only be infants in their life cycle. Although their evolutionary history is unknown, judging by their size and relative features, it's safe to assume the species had been dormant for thousands of years and might possibly even be descendants from dinosaurs. But this theory is problematic, as although Abrams initially stated that the Clover was not an alien and was instead a deep-sea creature that had been on Earth for thousands of years, the expansion of the Cloverfield franchise appears to be heading in another direction, with both 10 Cloverfield Lane and the upcoming God Particle that feature what appear to be aliens. What is certain is that both Tagruato and the cult that had infiltrated the company were both responsible for recklessly endangering the entire world. In the film Cloverfield, the Clover is seen rampaging throughout the city for over 6 hours before it is inevitably stopped by the Hammer-Down Protocol. Though both the attack on the city by the Clover and subsequent retaliation by the troops was responsible for New York being ripped apart, it was reported that approximately 1.4 million residents were able to make it to safety through the tunnels and bridges. Rob, Elizabeth and Hudson were able to make it onto a helicopter, and we see it take off minutes before the hammer down protocol that is set to wipe out the Clover. They get too close to the monster that reaches out and causes their chopper to crash into Central Park. Hudson is then approached by the Clover before being killed, just moments before the targeted bombing hits the nearby Clover, causing the bridge protecting Rob and Beth to collapse. After releasing the film, Abrams was quick to deny that the Clover was an alien or that it had come from space, but as mentioned earlier, the follow-up films that he's producing seem to contradict his initial vision for the standalone film. Though never intended to be followed up by a sequel, the release of the film 10 Cloverfield Lane revealed that it was set within the Cloverfield universe. In one of the scenes, Michelle stumbles upon a letter written to her captor, a man named Howard who is employed by Bold Futara, a subsidiary of the large Tagruata company. Howard had essentially built a bunker in preparation for what he believed would be an invasion, and seemed pretty clued in about the methods the alien creatures were using to wipe out our species, like the use of toxic gas. The protagonist of the film, Michelle, eventually makes it out of the bunker to find a ship in the distance that appears to be releasing a harmful toxin. It eventually gets close and picks Michelle up in her car. It's here that we can see it appears to be organic in nature, meaning that it was likely a monster itself. Whether it was another monster like Kishin and Clover that was seen before it, or whether it was an alien invader like Howard had been suggesting is hard to say, but I think the truth is somewhere in between. The God Particle is also an upcoming 2018 sci-fi flick that is set in space and hinted to being the third film in the loosely affiliated franchise. With the moderate success of 10 Cloverfield Lane, I'm keen to see if and how the God Particle will tie the existing films together to the overall franchise. Personally, though I enjoyed the Kishin manga, Cloverfield and 10 Cloverfield Lane as individual pieces of work, together I don't think they're as coherent as they should be. With that in mind, I'm curious to hear what your thoughts were on Cloverfield and 10 Cloverfield Lane, so please share those in the comments below. I hope you guys are having an awesome New Year's. As always, it's been a pleasure. Niyat here with Film Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.
What about police, fire department? Couldn't get through. Okay, it just seems a little...